What would happen if the Earth stopped spinning?
I think time would stop entirely.
I think I would fly into outer space.
Well, both of you guys are actually entirely wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why. Comment down below what you guys think would happen if the Earth stopped spinning.
What if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Would you notice? Absolutely. In fact, depending on where you're located, you could be thrown off your feet and sent flying
I said
across
that.
the planet at approximately 1,000 miles
I said that.
per hour. If
That's
you somehow
insane.
survived
What in the
that
universe?
first,
What?
What happened next would be
What?
like walking into a nightmare. There
You
would be
kidding me?
giants.
Wait, but why though? Because the Earth is frozen. Why would everyone be flying? That doesn't make any
gravity.
sense. It should be
Because,
the
yeah,
opposite.
it's not going to slowly come to a stop. If it just stopped on the dot right there in time, everybody's going to just keep spinning around.
Yeah.
We're spinning at like
Really?
thousands of miles per hour.
So we're just used to the Earth spinning. Like we're just used to it spinning.
We are spinning right now thousands of hours every single second, and we are moving through space at millions of miles per hour. But we don't feel it.
That's crazy.
Let's let this guy explain, because he's much smarter than me.
Giant storms, humongous waves, and flying debris. The crazy part is the worst is yet to come. We might
Really?
take all the
No
things
way.
Earth's rotation does for us for
Hey,
granted. It
do the
influences the
snaky
weather,
walk.
allows for 24-hour days, helps moderate the climate so we can survive comfortably
Really?
on our planet. Earth started
Exactly.
spinning around 4.5 billion years ago, and it hasn't stopped since. This is because in the vacuum of space, there is nothing to create friction that would slow down the Earth. However,
I
the
see.
speed at which our planet spins is decreasing. So, what would happen if Earth suddenly came to a complete stop? There would be some instantaneous effects, followed by a series of catastrophes in the minutes, hours, and days to come.
Oh my,
If you
the
Wait,
ground
so
just exploded.
If it slowly stops spinning, it's slow, like every year it gets slower and slower. Eventually it will stop spinning.
Well, yeah, but that's not going to happen for a very long time. Yeah, I think that it's going to take literally forever.
Okay.
Unless Adam, you need to speed the Earth up by sprinting as fast as you can and just like digging into the ground and pushing and pushing and pushing, and then the Earth will go faster than it's ever fasted ever before. That's what I think you should do. You could save the entire world.
That's the stupidest thing you've ever said.
Alec clearly needs to go back to 5th grade.
You're sitting on a beach near the equator when Earth stops spinning. You, the beach chair, and all that sand
See
around
you.
you
It's
would
like a giant
continue
tornado.
moving at around 1,000 miles per hour. If you somehow managed to avoid
Wow.
being hurtled across the planet, you would have to watch out for things such as cars, animals, and anything that wasn't secured to the Earth.
Yeah,
flying
everyone
away.
would fly
You and
away,
all the
even
other flying
buildings.
debris would
No
not
way.
get launched into space because Earth's
Cyber-
gravity
That's
would still
Elon.
be pulling you toward its center. But everything would go careening in an easterly direction across the surface until friction finally
I would just
slowed
go
it down.
west then.
It might seem unbelievable, but if you were at the North or South Pole, you would have no idea that Earth stopped spinning at
No
first.
way.
This is because
that's actually
the
true.
at these locations is zero. Think of it like spinning a basketball on your finger. The finger at the pole of the basketball doesn't move as the ball
Bro.
spins. However, if you were to place your finger
Interesting.
anywhere else on the surface of the ball,
Wait.
it would move in the direction that the ball was
Bro.
rotating. That same thing would apply to anyone at the poles of the Earth. Let's say that you and
Okay, so whoever is living like at the equator is moving the fastest?
Yeah.
Is that what he's saying? Bro, that's crazy!
But nobody has any idea because we're always going at that same speed, so nobody really can feel it.
I'm moving to Antarctica, bro, just in case this happens. I'm bunkering up over there.
I heard it's pretty cold there.
Well, it's better than being dead, than getting flung around. You're getting flicked by gravity.
Nobody's going to stop Earth in its tracks. There's no way. It's been doing this for 4.5 billion years.
Or, hear me out, we always just wear a parachute everywhere we go, so that when we eventually go flying, we just pull our parachute, and then we're good. Then we slowly fall back down to Earth.
What happened to Alex IQ for this video? It's just dropping.
That is
Sure.
genius! Are you serious?
Comment down
Yeah,
below.
but
That is
Alex,
actually
what-
smart.
What
That is
will
actually
you do
smart.
if a giant car comes out of nowhere and kills you anyway?
Then I pull left, and then I dodge the car. Come on, it's a flawless plan. Just
Well,
everywhere you go
Adam,
from now on, wear
I
a
actually
parachute.
think he's onto something. Alec, you should buy a parachute and you should wear it everywhere.
See, that's what I'm saying. Exactly, it's a
Wait,
great
I
plan.
agree. Alex,
Fantastic
buy that
idea.
now. Buy
Alec,
that
go
now.
on Amazon right now. Please buy a parachute.
Thank you, guys.
Buy it off
you and
Temu, actually.
everything else that went flying across the planet.
wish
Now
not.
See, that guy needs a parachute.
debris everywhere.
You should save-
Look
See?
around and
If you had a
see
parachute-
survived
Anyway.
alive. Unfortunately, you won't stay that way for very long
Oh,
because the
here we
worst
go.
is yet to come. Even if the Earth stopped spinning, the atmosphere would continue to move. This would cause a massive global windstorm. Like
Oh,
everything else
snap.
that wasn't bolted down,
Hey,
the
yo.
winds would blow at 1,000 miles an hour.
Oh.
As you
Parachute
move
would
away
save
from
ya.
The equator, the wind speed would slow down. However, you would need to be located pretty far north or south.
It's awesome.
before the
Wait,
winds
it's
dipped below
kinda sounds
non-lethal
amazing in
levels.
Antarctica.
Most man-made
Yeah, but you would
natural
freeze.
structures would not even
Wear a
be able
coat.
to withstand winds over just a few hundred miles per hour. The
Whoa.
strongest wind gust
Wow.
ever recorded on our planet was just over 250 miles per
That
hour.
is really
And the most
fast.
powerful hurricane force winds
Oh,
reached
that was
just
a
over
hurricane, though.
150 miles per hour. When you consider the destruction that can be done by these storms and then multiply it tenfold, you
Yeah.
get an idea of
Yeah.
how dire
Every
the
house,
situation
every
has
building,
become.
see
The
ya.
winds would not only be moving incredibly fast across the planet, but they would do something strange over time.
Wait, now I actually now understand the history of the Leaning Tower of Giza.
Pisa.
Of Pisa.
Okay, go on. Is that it?
Down,
Oh,
regular weather patterns
That's
would
not
change
how that
drastically.
happened.
Never
The
believe
spinning of the
anything
Earth
Adam
creates
says.
The Coriolis effect, which causes air currents to move across the planet.
Whoa.
It is the movement of air and the friction that's caused as it passes over the surface of the Earth that causes certain weather patterns, such as hurricanes. Therefore, a non-spinning Earth would not have any more hurricanes. So, at least we have that going for us.
Let's
But there
go.
are
There
we go,
phenomena
there we go,
that
come
make
on.
trying to survive
Well, that's
on
if
this
we
new
survive.
motionless
That's only one
world
thing.
Incredibly difficult. For one thing, the oceans and all the water on the planet are about to move to a new location. When the Earth stops spinning, the water, like everything else, will keep moving. This will cause enormous tsunamis and gigantic waves.
What's
to
gonna happen
sweep
to the
across
sea
every
animals?
continent and briefly turn
They're all
our
gonna
planet
end up
into a
on
water
land.
world. It would be like a more intense version of the Noah's Ark story, but even a ship large enough to carry 2 of every animal on the planet wouldn't survive the waves, which could
Maybe that's how God did the ocean thing. He just stopped the Earth from moving.
Just for like even 1 second, that would cause this probably.
It makes sense now. Scientifically, you could explain it, how he did
I
it.
guess so. So it sounds like the only places that are going to be safe are the International Space Station and maybe a nuclear bunker could be safe.
I was thinking that as well.
That's about it.
What if God just like, he just like spin on his finger?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's awesome, man. That was sick. I'm glad you said
hundreds
that.
of feet high. And if you thought 100-foot tidal waves
I
were
was gonna
bad,
think, my
that's
God's cool.
nothing compared to the other natural disasters that would be caused by a sudden stop to Earth's spin. The tectonic plates sit on top of Earth's mantle and slowly move across the viscous molten rock. This is what causes geologic formations such as mountains and valleys. However, if the plates keep moving at their previous speed after Earth stops spinning, it
Whoa,
can cause
whoa, whoa,
earthquakes and
whoa.
volcanoes on a scale of which
wow.
has never been seen before.
That's fine. That's
That's
not
fine.
good.
Plates slam into each other.
We don't even
huge
have
tremors
volcanoes
will
near
ripple
us.
across the landscape, tearing apart the Earth's crust.
Iceland
Denser
would have a
oceanic
field
plates
day.
will be forced under less dense continental plates, causing massive volcanic eruptions that would spew molten lava.
So pretty much what he's saying is that every volcano to ever exist would erupt as soon as this happens. All of the lava is just gonna boom, explode like me after Chipotle.
That's the first thing I'm on board with. I'd be cool with that.
Well, the thing is, we don't live anywhere near volcanoes, and so we would just get to see all the videos of other people taking videos of the volcanoes, which is kind of cool.
Yellowstone, I think, is our closest volcano, and it is a super volcano. And people say that if that were to ever erupt, the entire world is going into an ice age.
Actually, no, because he said that there's gonna be water. There's gonna be water all over the entire Earth. So how would a volcano do anything? The lava's just gonna instantly turn into just like molten rock instantly because there's water everywhere.
But then it keeps erupting, and then it erupts, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's how Hawaii was created.
So we'll make a new Hawaii. We need more
Exactly.
land.
Now we get Hawaii's everywhere. Dude,
Exactly,
let's
true.
hashtag stop the Earth from spinning. Let's start the hashtag, guys. Come on, this sounds awesome.
Okay, you're acting like humans have any control over whether the Earth spins or not.
I
We're
think
gonna
Elon Musk
die
could do
either
it.
way, though, too.
Elon could do it, I think.
If we do that, we should go to Mars first, and then maybe wait to see what happens.
We should attach a string from Earth all the way to Mars.
The planet.
That's an idea.
And just see what
The atmosphere
happens.
and smoke or dust particles. The resulting scars and craters in the Earth's landscape would be reminiscent of something out of Dante's Inferno.
That's good, Adam.
And yet there is still more devastation to come. We're now hours into the after effects of an Earth that suddenly stopped spinning. The waves have subsided, the winds have calmed, and the Earth has reached a sort of new equilibrium. But now the really strange stuff is about to happen. At this point, pretty much every living thing on the planet has been wiped out, except for some species
the
that
penguins.
Oh, penguins! Penguins survive!
Scientists stationed in the Arctic. Unfortunately,
The
at
only
least one of
flightless
those
birds.
creatures won't last for very long.
They're a
Every
joke
weather
to the
pattern on
bird
Earth
community.
will have shifted. Winds are blowing up from the equator to the poles, and this directly impacts rainfall, causing rainforests to go arid and deserts to flood.
Dang,
Surprisingly,
GGs.
some of the most hospitable places on Earth after it stops spinning would be in the frozen tundras of Canada and Siberia.
I feel like if you were in a bunker, you'd survive this pretty easily. Like and then you would just need padded walls on the bunker because you get flung 1,000 miles an hour, but you just like, you eat that, you know?
That is true. Or you're just like strapped down. Maybe you like know that it's coming, and then you're in a seat so that you're just like protected.
Yeah. Because once you survive that, you're good.
I feel like you haven't been watching the rest of the video because there's tsunamis, there's volcanoes. tornadoes. There's like 1,000-mile-an-hour wind.
He's also mentioned multiple times that after these initial things happen, everyone's gonna die anyway. He just hasn't explained why yet.
Well, you gotta think that I'm pretty sure Venus is one of the planets that stops spinning entirely, and Venus, one side is icy cold, and the other side is like molten rock lava. Because it doesn't spin, so it doesn't have any equilibrium, right? So one part that faces the sun turns into lava, and the other part that faces away turns into ice.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. You're a super genius.
Right now, these locations are difficult to live in, as the temperatures are brutal and precipitation can be
Yeah,
low.
that does look
However,
cold.
with the changing of weather patterns, these areas could begin to thaw and
Even the
become
trees are
much more
sweating.
temperate. That being said, in the coming days, another problem will arise around the world that would render this a moot point. As the Earth spins, it creates centrifugal force, which pulls the water of our
yes.
oceans toward the equator.
Centrifugal
Due to this
force.
phenomenon, the sea level at the equator is actually about 13 miles higher than the sea level at the
Oh,
poles.
wow.
When the Earth
'Cause we're
stops spinning,
spinning.
the centrifugal force that causes the
Oh.
oceans to bulge at the equator is gone. This means that the
Whoa.
water of the oceans will begin to move toward the poles.
Whoa.
The ocean levels
Oh,
at
it's
the
all
equator
going
would
to
rise
Science,
by
baby!
about 5 miles as the water rushes to either pole. This would increase the amount of water in the Arctic and Antarctic, submerging any remaining land under salty water. Those new oceans would
Climate
now extend
change.
from the poles down around the longitude of where Spain is located in the northern
Holy
hemisphere and to the
smokes.
tip of Argentina in the southern hemisphere. But due to the drastic drop in
Wouldn't it just freeze again though? Because it's all cold.
Yeah, I thought all those frozen areas were floating because it's ice and ice floats. I thought it was like they were giant ice floating, like icebergs.
Well, I think that the water at the equator is really warm, so it's just gonna melt all of the ice.
But it's cold there, so it'll just freeze again. Like,
Yeah, we'll
like
figure it out.
I
I
don't know
put
if
my
it's cold enough.
when I leave my cup out in the sun, it melts. The ice melts. I put it back in the freezer, and then it's cold again.
Imagine being a fish while this is all going on. You're just like in the water with like hundreds of miles of water going really fast. And then you're just like, whoa, this way. Whoa, that way.
I was thinking too. I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking like, how crazy would it be to get a boogie board and just ride that thing?
That would be fun, Adam. Dude, let's make this
Yeah.
happen. This sounds sick.
Don't think we want this.
At sea level near the equator,
C's,
there
baby.
would now be a giant supercontinent that circled the Earth's equatorial region,
Ooh, the
separating
Panera.
the two new polar oceans from one another. This new
Panama.
continent would be a barren stretch of land.
What are you
containing
talking
very
about?
little in the way of
Pangea?
plants or
Pangea?
animals, as it's been underwater for hundreds of
Pangea.
millions
You're a
of
pan
years.
idiot.
Life would slowly begin to recolonize this newly formed
Whoa.
continent in a
See,
new
this is
situation.
awesome.
But
This
since
planet
most
looks better
living
than
things were
before.
likely wiped off in the initial displacement of air and water, this process
Noah
would
and his
take
ark.
much longer. However, life always seems to find a way. So
Yeah.
microbes would probably inhabit the new continent first, followed by pioneering species such as fungi and lichens.
Ew, ew.
Unfortunately,
Ah, I'm a
even
fun
the most
guy.
resilient species would have a hard time surviving on a non-spinning Earth due to the change in the length of a day. The spinning of Earth on its axis is what causes day and night. Once the spinning stops, there will still be a day and a night. It'll just take much longer to change between
Oh.
the two. Just because the Earth stops spinning doesn't mean it stops revolving around the sun.
Oh, I
The
forgot
length
about
of a
that.
year, or the time it takes the Earth to complete one revolution in its orbit, would remain the same. This
Okay.
means that as the Earth
Wait, that's why everything's calculated by year. Is because the revulsion around the Earth. I mean, the sun.
That is what a
Exactly.
year is. Exactly. But
Is exactly what I learned when I was 12.
But guys, I think if the Earth isn't spinning at all, then one day is going to be as long as 1 year.
Yeah.
Right? Like that makes sense.
Imagine how much harder it would be to do the Minecraft 100-day challenge.
That would
That
take
would be
100
tough.
years.
That would take you a lifetime, Alec. Get to work.
continued to orbit the sun, one day on Earth would take a year. Wherever you were located
I'm
on the
so
planet, it would
smart,
take 6 months
dude.
of
Come
life and
on.
6 months of
Come
dark.
on.
With these
You should host
extreme
this channel.
conditions, some really terrible things begin to happen. The most noticeable difference would be the changes in
Temperature,
across the
yeah.
planet. Since
Yeah.
any given
Alright,
point on
relax
the Earth
there.
would receive 6
Smarty
months
pants.
of sunlight, it would experience 6 months of intense heat. The first days of having non-stop sunlight wouldn't be too bad. You might be
Yeah.
hard to fall asleep, but the temperature wouldn't be that drastically different.
How bad does
as
it
the
get?
weeks passed and the area never got a chance to cool down, the temperatures would slowly begin to creep up.
He's burnt.
It's estimated that 6 months of non-stop sunlight would likely cause the temperature on the daytime side of the Earth to reach over 212 degrees
Whoa!
Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius.
That's
this
hot.
is hot enough to
That
boil
is
water
hot.
and melt
That's
everything
hot.
else on the surface of the planet.
That is
the
hot.
water would evaporate into the
Air
air
conditioning,
and
guys, come on.
its way to cooler
Your air
regions
conditioning
of
is
I would-
burning alive.
I would be on the other side
The
of
daytime
that.
side of the
I
Earth
wouldn't be
would
on
I
that
would be
side.
like, I would be like
landscape
right
in
in
a
the
matter
middle
of
so that I could
months.
just
On the
go
opposite side
daytime,
of the planet,
nighttime,
where it's
daytime,
perpetually
nighttime.
for 6
Yeah,
months.
exactly. You would have to continuously be like walking in between the day and the night. You can't let it get too far. Because if
It
you're in
would-
the cold too long, or if you're in the night too long, it'll be too cold. If you're in the day too long, it'll be too warm.
There's only a small sliver that you could survive on.
It would
Exactly.
move pretty fast because it goes one time per year, but that's a long way to travel in a year. You'd have to follow
Especially
that.
when there's no planes and you have to walk. because there's no more cars, and you're also a fun guy now. So
And most of it's
keep that in
water.
mind.
True.
6 months, the temperatures would plummet. If you found yourself stuck here, you would notice something strange during your 6 months in darkness. The night sky would never change. We're used to seeing the stars, moon, and other celestial bodies move across the night sky, but this is an illusion. Although everything in the sky is moving, the only reason that constellations seem to rise and set is because of the spin of the Earth. If the Earth stopped turning, this would no longer be the case, and you would see those same stars in relatively the same position all the time.
The Big Dipper
That
would
being
always
said,
be
there
in the
would be
same
7
spot.
celestial objects that still moved across the sky.
D.
These would be the other planets in the solar system. However, due to the long orbits of the outer planets like Neptune and Uranus, there's a chance they would not cross your portion of the night sky during your lifetime. You would likely be able to see Mercury, Venus, and Mars, though, which might break up some of those monotonies of a year-long day. Surprisingly, there are a few ways that life might get around the temperature problems with an Earth day lasting one
The
full year.
bunker! I'm telling
On
you,
both
the
day
bunker!
and night sides of the planet, microbes would likely be able to survive
Wow.
since
Microbes,
they're pretty
Adam.
hardy. However, most
He did
plants
not
and
mention the
animals would
bunker.
die off in massive numbers. If any survived the initial catastrophes when the Earth stopped spinning.
GG's
Although,
lying?
when you think about it, there are already certain organisms that survive in locations where 6 months of the year are in
Yes.
darkness, and the other
Yeah,
6
it's
months
Alec
the
in his
sun never
basement.
sets.
That's
in the
facts.
South Pole, penguins live in
I'm
these
catching
conditions
strays
every
for no
year.
reason.
Granted, if the Earth wasn't spinning, their
There's some sort of
habitat would
fish
likely
that's
be
deep,
underwater,
deep down
but
in the ocean
theoretically,
that has a
penguins might
light
be
on
the
its
best
forehead.
suited animals to survive on a non-spinning Earth. There may also be creatures deep in the ocean near hydrothermal vents called
Extremophiles.
extremophiles
Yep.
that could survive if
Yep.
Earth stopped spinning.
Oh, wait,
These
where's his
creatures
light?
in the ecosystems don't require sunlight as they create
Yes.
their own food, not using photosynthesis, but a process called chemosynthesis.
Yep.
They do this by taking the heat and minerals being pumped out of the Earth and into the oceans and repurposing them into food.
Animals
are
These
so
extremophiles
fascinating.
No
continue
way.
to
That's
the
insane.
Earth's core and tectonic plates
wish I
need
could
to
do
remain
that.
active. If these processes stopped along with the spinning of the Earth, then everything that relied
wish
on
we
the
could do
organisms
that.
around the
Look at how
hydrothermal
happy he
vents
looks,
would die
too.
off, too.
He doesn't need no
Or if they
McDonald's,
just died.
found
Dunkin',
themselves still living on the Earth
Chick-fil-A.
after it
You don't need
stopped
none of
spinning,
that.
there might be a way to survive that year-long day. However, we'd have to go back to our roots and become nomadic again. During the time it would take the Earth to complete its orbit around the sun, there would be always a section of the planet that would be in a twilight zone.
That's
Sun
what we were
would either
talking
be
about.
Just about to rise or just about to set.
We
in
are
those regions.
geniuses.
This would make their temperatures relatively moderate. In
Yes.
this scenario, anyone who survived the stopping of Earth may be able to make their way into the equatorial supercontinent.
That's
and
what we
use it
said.
as a base of operations. If you
We're
could
geniuses.
somehow band together with any other humans who survived and start a nomadic tribe,
Start a
you
family.
could follow the twilight zone around the Earth every year.
That would be
Obviously,
tough though,
you'd need
because you got to think the Twilight Zone is eventually going to move into the ocean. So we'd have to figure out a way to stay at one spot in the ocean very slowly and then just keep following.
Jack,
that
wouldn't
Twilight
the
Zone.
ocean be gone though? Because the
I
evaporation
don't know.
and the boiling
In the
of the
image
water?
that he just showed, the ocean was still there.
Oh.
Also, the higher north or lower south you go, the less you would have to actually travel.
That is true. So you just go to the top or you go to the bottom, and then you just walk in little circles.
You walk in like
little
a
circles.
4-foot
Exactly.
circle.
Exactly. Okay. We have our game
Dude,
plan
we
down,
got
boys.
this. Come on. All we need is a parachute, and then we can survive this.
Parachute. step one.
Parachute, guys. That's all you
Ways to
need.
grow plants and
That-
low
that's step
life
1, 2, 3, 4,
food
5,
and
6.
find drinkable water.
Parachute.
But if those obstacles could be overcome, you could travel your way around the planet each year and keep out of the high and low temperature.
See, look, they got their
zones. We
parachutes
know
on.
There are many more
don't look
obstacles
happy,
that
though.
would need to be addressed in order for your new Twilight community to succeed. But it's kind of interesting that going back to our
Everyone
nomadic
looks like they have
lifestyle
to
might
poop.
be the thing that could save the human species if the world
does
stopped
not
spinning.
look happy
the
at
number
all.
of problems
I
that need
do.
to be overcome seems almost insurmountable when you look at it practically. All life on Earth today evolved to live on a planet with a day lasting roughly around 24 hours. The length of a day is so important that it's become ingrained in our biology. If the
For
Earth
real.
stopped spinning, it would throw the circadian rhythms of living things into chaos.
Yeah,
This
we wouldn't
process
know
is
when to
fine-tuned
sleep.
to allow our bodies to go through physical, mental,
Maybe
and
we could just
chemical
survive
cycles
24
every
hours awake.
24 hours. If your circadian rhythm gets thrown off, it can lead to depression, irregular hormone release, and even a change in body temperature. And this is not just unique to humans.
Well, depression would also come from the planet being destroyed.
I would be pretty sad about that. Yeah.
It'd be hard to be depressed if you're worried about surviving.
Yeah, the worst part would be there's no more Wi-Fi or like no more TV.
That's what you're
no
worried
more
about.
King would
shows.
probably
That's
have
what
to
you're
shut
worried
down.
about? Not your family getting destroyed?
Chick-fil-A would probably no longer be operational, especially not on Sundays. But wait, what if the Earth stopped spinning on a Sunday? Then they would be closed forever, at least for the next year.
Dude.
You know what the real solution would be? We need to become astronauts.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be safe if we're on the ISS. Yeah, we could just spend our time in space
And we start reeling them in with that rope.
very slowly, and that's where the parachute comes into play. Once we get close enough, we just parachute away.
We are so smart.
I'm buying a parachute.
We have to make sure we land at the North or South Pole, though. That's the only way we survive.
The only thing my only takeaway from this video is buy a parachute.
Many living
Bye,
things
bye,
on the
bye.
planet
Parachute
rely on
equals
circadian
survival.
rhythms to time biological functions. life evolved over hundreds of millions of years to survive during a 24-hour day. It would not be able to adjust to a year-long day very easily.
Dang.
All of those problems so
Crazy.
far would occur if the surface of the Earth stopped spinning. However, if the entirety of the Earth, including the core, were to become stationary, what would happen? Things would actually become a whole lot
How
worse.
does it get
No, it can't be
Come on,
worse.
come on.
Iron
But
and
wait,
nickel.
there's
this
more.
is incredibly important because as these two elements swirl around the core as a result of the
Come
intense
on.
heat and
It's the
pressure at center of our
electric-
planet, they create a
electric
magnetic field
magnetivity.
around the Earth. This magnetic field
Yep.
protects our atmosphere from being obliterated by harmful radiation and
Okay,
solar
we are
storms.
done
If the
for.
core of the Earth stopped
Wait,
spinning
what?
along with the rest of the planet, our magnetic field would shut down. This likely wouldn't cause any immediate catastrophes, but
No!
after a while,
Meteors,
the planet-
meteors!
After a while,
Always
your hair
something.
definitely
from
turns
extra
red.
radiation bombarding it from the sun. Living things would get radiation burns, and the DNA in their cells would
Ew.
begin to
Not if you're in the
mutate.
bunker.
However, this would only
Not if
be a
you're in the
problem
bunker.
until the sun belched out a solar flare or a coronal mass ejection in our direction.
gosh, I
Without
hate
our
coronal
magnetic
mass
field,
ejections.
These cosmic events would completely annihilate anything on the surface
That's
of the planet.
crazy. No.
This brings us to the big question: is it possible for the world to just stop
No, he's not-
spinning?
he's nodding
the
his
answer
head.
Is yes.
What?
There are two different ways the Earth could
How?
stop spinning.
You said it
First
yourself,
would be
Jack.
If all motion stopped at once, and the second would be if it gradually slowed down over time.
That's what
We're
you
gonna
said,
look at
Jack.
Both scenarios. An abrupt stop
Yeah, but
would be
how?
much more devastating than a gradual one, but a gradual stop is likely as our planet's spin is already slowing down.
Yes.
If the Earth was hit by another planet-sized object, it would theoretically stop the rotation of our planet. If this happened, all of these things discussed in this video could be disregarded.
Okay,
That is
that looks a
terrifying.
little bit worse.
That is a
than the
code
planet-
blue.
Imagine our planet just getting deleted. Oh my gosh, that's scary. Any big planet could just destroy our planet. It's like one of them games of marbles.
The Earth will stop spinning if it gets exploded by another planet. That's a fact.
You don't say.
That's like in
Magnitude
Squid
would
Games.
vaporize anything on the surface of both planets, which makes 1,000 mile per hour
Why is this
winds
guy still
and
smiling?
long days pretty
This is awful.
insignificant in the grand
This guy
scheme
is
of
planning
things.
world
Surprisingly,
domination.
A planet in our solar system went through such an impact. Uranus
Really?
does not spin the same way as all the rest of the planets in our solar system. It spins
What?
at a 90-degree angle from its plane of orbit. All
What?
other planets spin close to 180 degrees along their orbit. Many scientists believe the reason that Uranus's spin is different from the rest of the planets is that an Earth-sized object hit it in the past. So,
my
it's
gosh,
not
Uranus
out of the
got
realm of
hit by another
possibility that
ball.
Earth
No,
could
it
be
was
hit
the
by
moon.
something that would disrupt its spin. There is another planet that has an even more peculiar spin than Uranus, and it happens to be our neighbor.
Saturn!
Venus is a lot like Earth.
Dang
it's
it.
about the same size, and it sits just on the inner part of
But
the
it doesn't
solar
spin.
system's habitable zone. However, due
Yes,
to
it
its
does.
runaway greenhouse effect, Venus is more like hell than Earth. But what makes this planet peculiar is that it rotates in the opposite direction compared to all the other planets in the solar system.
It just
On
has to be
Venus, the
quirky.
sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists
Really?
think
How does
this
it
might have
even
been
do that?
caused by an impact. Recent evidence suggests that Venus used to rotate in the same direction as all the other planets, but the sun's gravitational
they
pull
figure that
slowed
out?
down its spin and eventually caused it to stop. That same gravitational pull continued to tug on Venus, resulting in it spinning the opposite direction.
Whoa.
Can it do the same thing to our planet then? Our planet is the next planet in the line. It's the next planet.
I think we're too far away, Adam. So we're
It's
we're
literally
only
right there.
getting-
I can see it. My
We're
mouse is
only
pointing at
getting
it.
slowed down just a little bit every single year. Just a little bit. It's kind of like when you stand next to Alec. You only get pulled in just a little bit closer every second that you're
It's
there.
getting worse and worse though every year. I don't know if I can help it.
They say Earth is in the Goldilocks zone, Adam. We're in the Goldilocks zone.
So this is the best time to be alive?
Exactly.
Pretty much.
But eventually, Earth is moving further and further away from the sun as well. And so eventually, we're going to be outside of the Goldilocks zone, and then Earth is going to turn into Mars, pretty much, in like a billion years.
Billion
That
years?
is out
Okay.
of this world, Alec.
That's past my
This
lifespan, buddy.
would never happen to the Earth as we're too far away from
It's
the
not
sun.
past your
but
mom's.
Perhaps something else could cause this to happen to our planet. There may be some unknown force that we've yet to discover.
Why is
which
he
could
sleeping on
cause
the
Earth
job?
to stop spinning. Perhaps if our solar system passed by a black hole at just
No,
the right angle,
nope,
the gravitational
nope.
pull from the black
Not
hole
gonna
could
happen.
cause our planet to stop
No, Ben
spinning.
10 Omniverse
However,
is
a more
coming near
likely
us.
scenario would be that the black hole would consume our solar system or
Not gonna
throw it
happen.
into chaos. Right now, the Earth is spinning slower than it was a year ago. In fact, the Earth's spin slows down around 1.4 milliseconds every 100 years.
Oh,
that's
that's
a very
nothing.
small number. and
That's
will have
nothing.
No
That's
literally
impact on your
nothing.
life. But for people in the future, it could be a huge problem. The reason that Earth's spin is slowing down is not a mystery. There isn't some unknown planet or force tugging on Earth stalling its rotation. Instead, the reason it slows down ever so
getting
slightly
old.
each year is because of the moon's gravity. You can see the pull of the moon at work.
I always
twice a
hated the
day
moon.
if you're by a
I
large
hate the
body of water.
moon!
Guys,
tugs at
it's
the water,
fine.
which
It's just the
creates
moon.
tides. This is a natural.
Wait, so Gru was actually a hero.
He's doing the string thing. Look at him.
The string
He's pulling
thing.
the Earth.
No, Gru from Despicable Me is actually a hero. He's trying to steal the moon because he
thought
knows
that
that the
was
moon
Vector.
is affecting the gravity.
Yeah, exactly. That movie's factual.
process and one many
Pull the
scientists believe is
string!
necessary for many aquatic creatures to survive. However, with all that pulling and tugging comes the side effect of losing momentum.
This guy has great
Every time
handwriting.
the moon pulls on the Earth, it slows its spin ever so
tug of war.
slightly. In fact,
They're
the
gonna
Earth
kiss.
had the same
I
effect
told
on
you
the
the
moon
string.
for a long time until it became tidally locked.
Is this where
which
string
was
theory
caused
comes
by
from?
Earth's
Yes.
gravity stopping the spin of the
It's
moon
my theory.
completely. This is why we only see one side of the moon. Since the moon is smaller than our planet, it has less gravity and therefore didn't tidally lock the Earth.
Nerd.
Yep.
This is a
Little
good
boy.
thing. Otherwise, our day would last a year and the world would look very different than it does today. But the fact remains, the moon is slowing the spin of the Earth. Ever
Down
so
with the
slightly
moon.
all
I hate the
time.
moon. Down with
To
the
put this into
moon.
perspective,
Let's just
go
nuke
back
the
in
moon.
time. 400 million years ago, the length of the Earth day was shorter than it is today
Okay.
because the planet was spinning faster. It might sound crazy, but there were actually 400 days in a year. This means every day was
What?
21.9 hours long. And if you thought there wasn't enough time in a day to get everything done now, you would have really been pressed for time 400 million years ago.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen in the future to the length of the day
Oh.
for the Earth? We know that one day now is about 23 hours, 56 minutes, not 24 hours. This is why we add an extra day every 4 years.
That makes
to make
sense.
sure that our calendar stays in sync.
It adds
At
up.
the rate at which the Earth is slowing down due to the pull of the moon, in 140 million years, a day will be 25 hours long.
Wow.
Obviously, you and I won't be around to witness a 25-hour day,
Probably
but
not.
given enough time, the Earth could stop spinning altogether. At that point, one day would be the equivalent to one full rotation of the Earth around the Sun, or 8,760 hours long.
This is getting
But
scary.
even future generations don't need to worry about this happening. The Earth will be destroyed long before it stops spinning. We're not talking about
This is
doomsday
getting
or-
worse
Wait,
and
is he talking
worse.
about cyborgs?
Instead, we're referring to the time it'll take for our sun to turn into a red giant and consume
Oh,
the Earth.
yeah.
This will happen in about
What do you
5
mean, oh,
billion
yeah?
years,
You
when
knew
the
about
sun
this? You didn't
fuses
tell
all
us?
the hydrogen atoms
Yeah,
at
well,
its
we have
core
5
and
billion
needs
years
to
What are we
to
gonna
figure out what else
do?
to
I
do.
knew Jack was a traitor.
At this point,
He's a
sun
part of the
begins
sun
to
gods.
expand. There's a chance that the sun doesn't swell to the size of Earth's orbit, but our planet would be so close
The
to
dude's
red
playing
giant that the
blackhole.io.
radiation and heat would be too much for
Agario.
our magnetic shield, and the world would burn up. At this point, Earth would be tidally locked with the sun and would no longer be spinning. Now watch what...
Guys, we're very lucky that we have at least 5 billion years to figure out what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning.
That's enough time for you guys to click on this next video.